this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a video to show you how to use Nanoleaf Lines to put a Pacman on your wall. In this video I'm going to be unboxing and setting up Nanoleaf Lines, which is a modular setup of backlit smart lighting bars that connect together in a variety of ways and then easily mount onto your wall, and then controllable with a control box on the device itself, but also via your phone, via various assistants, Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa. You can also use it with Razer Chroma, and there's an app on PC which will let you screen mirror, which is particularly awesome, and one of the things I've used previously with Nanoleaf's canvas and the original Nanoleaf light panels. Now, if you don't know already, Nanoleaf has been crafting a number of different lighting solutions for quite some time now, and Lines is one of the newer options available. Comes in a couple of different setups, but this starter kit with a set number of panels in it, as you can see 9 in this instance, will set you back around £179 sterling. Obviously that's going to vary depending on your region. I'm going to have links in the description so you can find out more. And in some of the kits in other regions you can get 15 lines in that starter kit as well. So that's worth knowing because there are different options in terms of what you can do. Now inside the box you get a little instruction set up here that shows you the different shapes that you can create. The eagle-eyed viewer will notice that Pacman is present on that, although mine is slightly different. I'm going to talk to you about why a bit later on. At the top of the box you then have the lines, which is what we connect it to, and then obviously all the other things that you need. Now there's a little power box here that connects with a long cable to the control box, and that's the initial link. Then you obviously have your wall plug and then various other connectors. You'll notice these essentially have a number of different pins so that you can set up things in different directions. So obviously you don't have to put Pacman on your wall, for example, as you'll see from that demo, and I will show you a couple of other designs as well. You can obviously choose what you want to do within the limits of the number of lines you have, whether it's 9 or 15, to set up a design that will suit your needs. The only downside being once you've got it mounted on the wall, you can't really then change the design very much. Maybe a little bit, and I'll speak about that a bit later on. But if you set up the initial design and sort of get an idea of what you want, you have the space measured out and you check that it fits, you can then craft a pretty nifty looking custom lighting solution for your wall. And the nice thing about this setup, as you've seen at the beginning, is that it's not only modular but it's also backlit, so the lighting actually fires onto the wall and then reflects off of that rather than lighting towards your eye, which makes it easier on the eye, and also offers a diffused lighting which looks pretty nice and quite pleasant. So one of the main things that you'll see in this setup is these hexagonal boxes. Now they have sticky tape on the back of them that you'll note with the Nanoleaf covering on top of them, but you'll notice there are multiple different pins across here on the outside edge. You also have these covers with 3 pins that push into the middle as well, and you put those in place at the end once you're happy with your layout, although it is possible to take those covers off, reposition the lines and set it up. You obviously need the control box, and this is essentially one control box that you can then access for power controls, but also has the power from the mains because it needs to be plugged into the mains in order to work. There are also various QR codes both on this and in the box and other things that you'll need to scan in order to link it with the app to then be able to control it remotely and tie it into your Wi-Fi, because it's obviously part of the home Wi-Fi system. On the end of each of the lines you'll find there are 3 metal prongs, and those obviously connect into the hexagonal control boxes to then link up the power so that you then have the lighting. They just snap into place. You'll have noticed that Nanoleaf logo on there is just a sticker though, so you don't need to have it on there, you can just peel it off. Now the thing that's pretty nifty about this little controller, which does the power and the lighting and things, is that it will go on any of those hexagonal boxes, so it doesn't need to be on the bottom as it is in my design. You can put it anywhere you like, but obviously the powered one needs to be somewhere in your design. You also have the option to put them in a variety of different positions. So in this instance, I'm putting one on the top, but you might choose to start from the side. You might have 2 coming out from the same direction and work up an interesting design of your own. Now, obviously, if you have 15 lines, you've got a lot more flexibility in what you can do. I actually found this actually is quite large in the setup that I'm doing here, to the point that I had trouble getting it into the frame for the camera. And this is on my desk, obviously, and I'll leave all the specifications in the description so you can get an idea of it. But here I am crafting Pacman, and I literally did this based on the view that I'd seen on that little card, because it gives you some inspiration of what you can do within the box, because you have sort of layouts that they've suggested. And so you're essentially just snapping them into place, clicking the little connectors in to the hexagonal boxes and linking them up. So you can see me putting them in various different positions here, and it's really easy to click these in place. This is definitely one of the easiest setups that I've experienced from Nanoleaf. As I said, I've had the original light panels, the triangles back in the day, and I've also done with canvas. And there's a lot of fiddling with getting the little tags in between and things like that. This is so much easier to do. Also, the wall mounting is remarkably easy, and I'll show you that a bit later on as well. So now you can see that I have the majority of the Pacman setup that I want to use. So now the important thing to do before you put it on the wall is to make sure that the connections are all working. So in this case, obviously, plugging in the power on the desk just to check that the light's working. Don't necessarily need to connect it to the app at this point, but we do want to make sure that the setup that I've got is going to work and all the connections are correct before you go through the process, because you don't want to mount it on your wall and then find that it's not working. The little plastic caps that go over the top can be seated in place before then, and you obviously also have the option to put the controller in a different position, as I said. So depending on where you're mounting it on the wall, you might find it's more convenient to have that controller on the right, left, top, bottom, whatever suits you. And it's nice that you have the option to move that around. For me, it's on the bottom on my wall because it's just above my desk, above my monitor, so it's really easy to do. Now, when I first plugged it in and turned it on, I wasn't sure it was actually working. You can see the lights are initially quite dim and then they suddenly come to life. So panic over, and I found this fairly straightforward. Now, one of the things you will notice is this design here is quite a bit different from the original one that I had in the first couple of clips, and that's because there's a line going straight down the middle that was suggested in their design. This obviously uses all 9 of the lines that are included in the kit, but actually a friend suggested to me that perhaps it might be better without those, and then it would be more recognizable as Pacman, and I thought that was right. Now, obviously dropping 2 of those lines out seems like a shame because you have paid a lot of money for this kit and you're then losing 2 of the lines and just not using them. And that's potentially part of the problem. But, you know, this is just one design. You could choose options and you could make sure that you use them all. As I said already, you can put these clips in place to cover it all up and sort of seat it down so that it's ready to go, but they are easy to remove as well. So if you put your design together, as I have done here, and then decide, actually, I don't really like it, or you want to make a change, as I do, by removing those 2 central ones, it's really easy to do because those clips just pop off the top. You just pop the lines out of the little holders and where the pins sit in place, and then you can reposition things. But you can see already, yes, my desk is very reflective, that the light bouncing back is very nice. It's nicely diffused on the rear, and I've actually found it's quite bright both during the day and at night, and it does give off a very nice aesthetic. There's loads of different colours that you can set up within the software as well, in the app and within the Windows software. So here you can see I've now removed a couple of those panels that go down straight down the middle. The lines are now missing, and this is more of what the Pacman view's like. But just to demonstrate, you can obviously pop off those and reposition things into different positions, so you could create a different pattern. If you imagine that I've wall mounted this now as it is, I said earlier on in the video that it's not possible to then create a new design. You can theoretically do it though, obviously, because I have done here. So it is possible to do it, but it will require you to sort of use the hexagonal control boxes in the position they're already installed on the wall. And that's because each of them has a sticker on the rear that's obviously double-sided tape that you need to then take the cover off of that and then apply pressure to it onto the wall to ensure it sits in place. So this becomes problematic if you then want to try and take it down and put it back up in a different design. So you have to sort of create a design that you're either happy with or that is flexible enough that you'll be able to reposition a few of the lines or even a couple of the lines in future to create a completely new design without removing the sticky tape from the wall, unless of course you bought replaceable sticky tape for the rears. There is one extra additional sticky tape included in the box, which obviously isn't going to cut it if you need to reinstall the whole lot, but at least it is there as an option. So the mounting process basically says to put it on your wall and then apply pressure to each of the points in order to hold it in place. They recommend getting a couple of people involved to do it so you can hold the positions, but I found it was fairly straightforward to do by just holding a couple of them and then applying pressure to each for about 30 seconds on each. You need to make sure the wall's clear beforehand, nice and clean, and also isn't terribly porous because it notes that it will have problems sitting on here. As I said earlier in the video though, this was easier than the installation of the original light panels with the triangles or Nanoleaf canvas. I found it a heck of a lot easier. Also, obviously an important point before you get to the mounting position, before you've taken the stickers off, is to make sure it's going to fit in your space. I knew that I wanted to put it here between my two sound isolation panels on the wall because there was nothing going on there, and I thought it would make a nice addition to go behind my monitor. Obviously also I'm going to be using the monitor syncing capabilities of this, which is available from an app that I'll link to in the description. Essentially just download that and install it on your PC or Mac, and then it will sync the lighting to your monitor and what's being displayed on there. That then obviously has the advantage of delivering some really nice, warm and interesting lighting, and also some level of immersion to it as well. I'm going to show you that in a little while. But here you can see the app. Now the process of setting this up was really straightforward. You scan a QR code, you go through the process of connecting it to your Wi-Fi, and then you obviously then have controls to go through a number of different designs and colors, and you can see some of them in action here. In a minute I'm going to show you the software as well and give you an idea of what that looks like. Here you can see the various different colors that are available, and there are loads of different ones to choose from. Some of them are very bright, other ones not so much. You have some very colorful ones, or you have like really bright daytime ones, and obviously what you prefer is going to vary depending on your personal preference, but I found the lighting to be surprisingly good and easy on the eye. So now I want to give you a view of the Nanoleaf app. This is on PC, on Windows 11, and this is the software that you can use to control it. And you'll see that I have mine in the dashboard as simply named Nines 25BC, because that's the name it had and I haven't changed it. And you can turn it on and off from here and also adjust the brightness levels. But you can also see there are a number of different color options that you can choose between, whether it's blues or different colors. And you saw some of those in the mobile app already. If you go into the Discover section, I'll quickly show you this, you can find scenes of a lot more different colours as well. And some of these will respond to music and other things, and you can see the little marker for that there. And just a variety of different colours and other things that you can add into the system. You can also set schedules, so time the lights to come on and off at various times, and do things like that. But the main thing that's interesting for me is the screen mirror capabilities. You will also note, if you're a Razer fan, you could have Razer Chroma compatibility. So if you've got Razer Synapse installed, you can activate this and then connect it out with Razer Chroma and have it react to your Razer gear. I unfortunately don't have any Razer stuff in testing purposes at the moment, but if you're interested in doing it, you can do it here, and I have used it in the past. It is fantastic. The screen mirroring setup is also wonderful. So you can see you have an option to enable screen mirror here. One quick point of note is that you can see that I have the Pacman represented on the screen here and how it is, and you'll note that you can actually position it. So when the software first loaded, it was upside down like this, because obviously the software doesn't actually know which way around you've got it positioned, but you can set it up and say actually this is the way it's going to be. You then have 4 different options for screen mirroring. You have 4D, which gives you a hyper-realistic screen sync that takes your viewing experience beyond the screen into the next dimension for high-impact action. Tranquility paints a dominant colour from your screen and gradually dissolves between those colours, one light at a time, ideal for more mellow moods. Flow picks the dominant colour from your screen and flows all light at once between colours for a smooth transition, which is perfect for a more unified effect. And then there's Chameleon, which is soft highlight effect, pulls multiple shades at once from your screen's color palette. Try for a more subtle, immersive experience. So you have a variety of options to choose from. You can also note that you can choose which screen it's mirroring. So I've got 2 plugged in at the moment, and you can choose which one you want. So you can set that up, click that button, and then run it. So I'm going to include a clip of that to show you what it's like in action, and I'll leave it on 4D as the default because that's the most vivid experience. So this is a clip from Ready or Not, which is a first-person tactical shooter that I've been thoroughly enjoying lately. I recommend checking it out. It's on PC on Steam at the moment. Check out Provoked Prawn Pew's gameplay channel to see some of the shenanigans that comes out of that. But what you'll see is this is a very dark game, so a good way to highlight the differences that the light can make in the situation. So you can see I'm obviously recording with very minimal light in the room, and yet when you're walking through the various dark areas, when you see a light source, for example spotlights or other colours in the area, that's then cast onto the lines. You can see I've thrown a smoke grenade and now the lines have sort of gone this greenish white representing the colour that I'm seeing in the game. It really adds nice ambience to the game visuals and to your immersive experience. Walk up on some fire and suddenly there's a bit of a orangey white glow on the Nanoleaf Lines as well. Now this is a really nice system. Obviously it's not super bright, and because there's only 9 lines maximum in this kit, it doesn't do as good a job as it would, say, if you had the Philips Hue light sync system set up and you had multiple Philips Hue lights in your room, or some backlighting for the monitor. But if you have more Nanoleaf Lines, or if you're including it as part of a system, it's a really nice addition. Also adds just a little bit of intrigue to the room and to your gaming space, I think, and it does it in a really nice way. This is obviously just one of the various settings, and if you use a game that's a bit more colourful, you'll see even more interesting results. Here, for example, is another clip from the same time of night, but in Dirt 5, and this is obviously a lot more colourful. It's on a white snowy track with multiple different coloured cars driving along, and you can see those colours represented in the various aspects of the lines. It's a nice sort of extra background ambient lighting. Hopefully you found this video useful and you enjoyed my Pacman, and maybe it's given you some inspiration for upgrading your own gaming space. Thanks for taking the time to watch. If you made it this far, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and an extra special thanks to my YouTube members who pay a little bit of money each month to help support the channel and get some benefits from doing so. Really appreciate those guys. They are super. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.